It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call to order the meeting of the panel on transport. The first agenda item is information papers issued since the last meeting. We had 4 information papers issued. We have the administration respond to some of the papers. Yes, Captain Lothair LAM. At the end of April, the administration provided fuel subsidies to public transport operators, including for diesel and LPG, for 2 months. They will expire at the end of June and in the middle of July. The government made the decision when there was a surge in fuel prices and a significant increase in costs to stabilize transportation costs for citizens. The subsidies were provided. When we passed the funding, I requested that the administration, when the subsidies are to expire, if the prices have not seen a significant decline, to review the subsidy arrangements, to perhaps renew the arrangements to reduce operational costs for operators. I hope that we can follow up on this issue, Chair. All right, we just received this letter. We will ask the administration to respond to this. Would the member please note this? Let's move on to the second agenda item. Second agenda item is items for discussion at the next meeting. The next regular meeting will be held on 17th of July between 10:45 in the morning and 12:45 p.m. The 2 items proposed for discussion are review of the effectiveness of the time-varying tolls at the 3 road harbor crossings and the Tai Lam Tunnel, and proposal to enhance requirements for physical fitness certification of driving license applicants or holders. Any comments from members? If not, we shall discuss the 2 items. Let's move on to the third agenda item, northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles and southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles. Members of the representatives from the administration, please come inside the conference room. I will also ask members who wish to speak to press the request to speak button. All right, we should invite the representatives from the administration to come inside the conference room. We have in attendance today Ms. Mabel Chan, Secretary for Transport and Logistics. We have Ms. Winnie De, Commissioner for Transport, and Mr. Tony Yip, Deputy Secretary for Transport and Logistics 3 of the Transport Logistics Bureau, and their teams. The representatives are here. I will now hand over the floor to you, Secretary. Thank you, Chair. Perhaps I'll briefly talk about the policy considerations and the latest progress of the arrangements. We all along have a policy innovation mindset. We want to make good use of a Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau bridge to deepen construction of the Greater Bay Area. It is an important initiative. We have been promoting different kinds of cross-boundary mobility measures so that we can have northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles and southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles to deepen connectivity. Let me first talk about the northbound travel scheme. The scheme was implemented in the middle of 2023. We are soon approaching the 3-year anniversary. Time really flies. Many citizens have participated in the scheme. We have over 140,000 Hong Kong private cars that have participated in the scheme. We see a continuous increase in usage of the bridge. We see the two-way vehicular flow reaching a total of about 530,000 vehicles in May 2026, with an average of about 17,000 vehicles per day, an increase of about 17% as compared to the same period in 2025. The northbound travel scheme accounted for about 40% of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau bridge's daily vehicular flow. We will continue to pay attention to the situation. We want to enhance relevant arrangements to make it more convenient for participants. both sides' authorities are also actively monitoring the operations of the bridge, especially during peak periods and peak hours. The authorities have been discussing all along how to enhance the clearance arrangements and have enhanced publicity to alleviate congestion on the bridge. As a scheme that also provides convenience, southbound travel scheme was implemented since the end of 2025. The drivers and passengers, after parking their cars at the automated car parks of the Hong Kong port, can fly via the Hong Kong International Airport, or they may drive to the urban area without obtaining a regular quota. To ensure orderly implementation, the southbound travel scheme was initially open to applications from 4 cities in the Guangdong province: Guangzhou, Zhuhai, Zhongshan, and Jiangmen. We can see the implementation of the southbound travel scheme has been orderly, and we do see an increase in application figures. We have received general support from the community, and as well as different sectors such as the hotel, tourism, retail sectors, to provide concessions, related concessions such as parking and accommodation for participants of the southbound travel scheme, to try to really encourage them to stay overnight and to bring their families here for consumption and go to different attractions in Hong Kong. We have different incentives. I want to give a report here, as at the end of May this year, we have 8,400 applications approved, and we have bookings made reaching 6,700. During the Labor Day Golden Week, we have seen the bookings reach double or 3 times the regular quota. And for park and fly service, we have seen over 8,600 applications. We have seen 4,000 bookings made. We do expect there to be a continuous increase in the number of applications. We have already announced the expanded scope of the southbound travel scheme. We will soon extend the arrangements to other cities of the Greater Bay Area. And right now, for the time that we are having the meeting of panel on transport, we will open our park and fly services to those cities. We will also increase the quota from 100 to 200. We will also extend the number of days of stay to 3 days. We also will launch the park and visit service of the port car park so that travelers can go through immigration procedures at the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge and then transfer to local public transportation to travel to different districts in Hong Kong. We will continue to monitor the arrangements of transportation in urban areas as well as demand for ancillary facilities. We will also continue to enhance publicity and education on safety. We will disseminate relevant information through various channels, such as information on tourism, parking, and parking spaces in different districts, so that drivers can plan in advance and for them to make good use of our accessible public transportation network to go to different locations in Hong Kong. Depending On the implementation, our target is to further the arrangements that in Q1 or before that of next year, we will continue to extend and expand the southbound travel scheme. We will maintain communication with the authorities of Guangdong to enhance the relevant arrangements of the northbound travel scheme and to expand the southbound travel scheme in an orderly manner in order to meet our vision. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Secretary. We have 15 orders, 15 members wanting to speak. Let me read out the order in which members are going to speak. Mr. Yuming, Mr. Cha Su-chung, Mr. Andrew Lam, Mr. Tam Chen Kwon, Mr. Adrian Ho, Mr. Kenneth Lau, Mr. Chen Pui Kong, Mr. Chen Su-hong, Ms. Vivian Kong, Mr. Yupat Lam, Mr. Aaron Bok, Captain Lothair LAM, Ms. Christine Fong, Mr. Chong Ho Fong, Dr. Chen Han Ban. I will assign a 4-minute time limit. I would ask members to observe the time limit because we have 15 members who are going to speak. 4 minutes would mean for over an hour already. We have limited time for the discussion of this item. I will also draw the line after Mr. Yuming has spoken. Thank you. Mr. Yuming. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Secretary. I can say we have observed that there is smooth implementation of the southbound travel scheme. We will soon increase the quota. I heard the Secretary say before Q1 of next year, we will extend the arrangements to the whole of Guangdong province. We will increase the quota from 100 vehicles to 200 vehicles per day. How did you reach this figure? I think it is important for you to provide justification for reference of the public. How did you reach this figure? If we are to increase the quota, will we see flexible adjustments for public holidays and general days to provide less quotas for weekdays or more quotas for public holidays? We now allow vehicles to stay for up to 3 days, and a lot of drivers and passengers want to stay here overnight, and it is welcomed by the Secretary, it seems. Is it possible for us to allow vehicles to stay for up to 7 days? If we are expanding to the whole of Guangdong province, we have those from Shaoguan or Meizhou. It would take 5 or 6 hours for them to drive here. Can we be more flexible so that they can stay here for longer, so that they can make more in consumption? We also have amicable interactions with both the northbound and southbound travel schemes. We now designate the Shenzhen Bay port for people to drive through. Is it possible for us to provide more convenience to have more than the Shenzhen Bay port for the northbound travel scheme, for example, the New Huanggang port? Thank you.
Thank you. 3 main directions. One, first of all, when we take into account the quota, we want to implement the scheme in an orderly and stable manner. The southbound travel scheme has been in operation for about a year. Soon enough, we are going to double the quota from 100 to 200. We are ambitious. However, we want to manage the traffic flow well. At the same time, we want to minimize the impact on the streets and the roads. We want to make it controllable. As a member just now said, for the southbound travel scheme, the tourists are high-end tourists. Usually they come with a family. So about 90% of these tourists stay for 1 to 2 days. Some tourists even stay for 3 days. Therefore, when we extend the scheme to other cities, or when we double the quota to a total of 200, we want to strike a balance between the implementation of the scheme and the impact on traffic. we want to allow more mainland tourists to come to Hong Kong. So at present, we want to keep the figure at 3 days, which is in line with their needs. Regarding the northbound travel scheme, when it comes to boundary control points, we do want to, via this scheme, effectively drive the traffic flow on the bridge. We first prioritize this area. When we're going to carry out and review, we will keep our mind open. We will also consider the clearance capabilities of other BCPs. We will take into account the impact of other BCPs on other roads. We'll continue to explore different possibilities. Thank you. Mr. Chao Siu-chung, thank you. On two main fronts, I'd like to ask about the southbound travel scheme. It's been in operation for about half a year. As mentioned in the papers, I'd like to ask about hotel, retail, F&B. What benefits have been brought to these sectors? Do you have any statistics to share with us? What are the economic benefits we can see? Regarding the southbound travel scheme, I'd like to ask about the impact on local traffic. As mentioned in the papers, there were sporadic traffic breaches. I'd like to know the extent, what kind of irregularities, what kind of non-compliances. Can you give us more details? The figures only reflect the situation in the past half a year. It's quite a short time. So within such a short period of time, that is within half a year, why must we expand the scheme to cover even more cities? Or why do we need to double the quota at this stage? Shouldn't we wait until the scheme is in operation for a longer time? We do need to conduct scientific analyses. We need to have more data before we carry out a review. Then we do not need to take baby steps. We can take bolder steps when we have more figures to take stock of. The northbound travel scheme is well received by the public in Hong Kong. I thank the administration for liaising with the Guangdong side to expand the scheme for another 5 years. This is very good. With enhancements to the scheme being carried out, when we provide facilitating measures for members of the public to make applications, I'd like to know what enhancements to the clearance arrangements have been put in place, especially when it comes to customs clearance during festivals. There are oftentimes traffic jams up to a few hours. Have you considered using other boundary control points? Thank you. Thank you. A few questions. I hope to answer all of your questions, so I will be brief. Regarding traffic breaches, sporadic cases, just single-digit figures. At the time of announcement, we took the approach of taking baby steps fast. That's why last year when we launched the scheme, the quota was set at 100. We have already taken stock of the implementation of the scheme in the past half a year. The overall implementation was smooth. During some festivals, such as long weekends, we have seen oversubscription and a surge in appointments. That is why, covering the 4 cities in the Guangdong province, we have extended such coverage to all 9 cities in GBA. We have taken into account the demands of users. That is why we propose to expand a quota from 100 to 200. We have already considered the capacity and the reality in Hong Kong. So when we increase the number of cities from 4 to 9, we can meet future demands. Regarding the northbound travel scheme, We'll continue to implement enhancement measures. In Zhuhai, we continue to maintain close liaison in order to better manage traffic. At present, on Tuesday and on Wednesday, the public do not need to make bookings. They can still use the bridge. Thank you. Mr. Andrew Lam. Thank you, Chairman. Regarding the northbound and southbound travel schemes, I'd like to focus on the southbound travel scheme first. From the perspective of the capacity of the bridge, I have observed a point. Daily average 17,000, that is the peak of a day. The ratio is high. This is good to me. However, if we take a look at the design capacity of the bridge, it's not yet 30% of the overall capacity. So I believe the urban area should be able to cope with the amount of traffic. We need to be mindful of 2 points. One, regarding the southbound scheme, one needs to make an application first. If that is the case, even if we double the quota, this shouldn't place an unexpected strain on the boundary control points. I'd like to have a clear answer from the administration. Next, regarding the northbound travel scheme, business, families, tourists. I'd like to know if the administration has any statistics. The design of the bridge is to narrow the gap between Hong Kong and the mainland. So shouldn't there be long-term statistics offering regulation and monitoring? Thank you. Regarding the capacity and the amount of traffic on the bridge, I echo the view of Mr. Andrew Lam. His understanding is correct. For private cars using the northbound and southbound schemes, we can drive the usage of the bridge by private cars. Actually, there is still capacity for the bridge to absorb even more private cars. On the other hand, when it comes to commercial vehicles and lorries, from the perspective of cross-boundary logistics, we want to encourage the use of even more lorries. This is one of our aims. Regarding southbound travel scheme, when more cars travel south to Hong Kong, of course, we control the demand through quota. We want to better manage traffic on the bridge. This is how we can reduce traffic and we can better manage the traffic. Regarding the purpose of cars joining the southbound travel scheme, most of these cases have to do with travel. We have been working with the travel industry, the hotel industry, and the retail industry to maintain liaison. Focusing on the hotel industry, about 30 hotels or groups have launched different packages for southbound travel scheme. This is what draws cars coming to Hong Kong through the southbound travel scheme. However, in some of these cases, some vehicles are actually commercial vehicles. They stay in Hong Kong for a shorter time. They come to Hong Kong to take part in exhibitions or they join some meetings in Hong Kong. When we expand the scheme to cover 5 more cities, say in Dongguan, Foshan, There are plenty of business dealings, exhibitions, and conferences between Hong Kong and these cities, and we can draw even more commercial or business tourists to Hong Kong through the southbound travel scheme. A few members talked about the purpose of coming to Hong Kong. They are very much interested in this area. I hope that you will conduct some statistics. Thank you. Mr. Tam Chan Kwok. Thank you. I'd like to ask about the expansion of the southbound travel scheme. I hope that we will be able to attract even more high-spending tourists to Hong Kong so we can drive consumption. In Hong Kong, roads are narrow, and there are plenty of cars in Hong Kong. A lot of members of the public are worried about a surge in the number of cars in Hong Kong. There are differences in the driving habits and patterns between the Chinese mainland and Hong Kong. The Secretary mentioned a single-digit figure of travel non-compliances. Regarding road signage, road rules, and the driving habits, these are very different between Hong Kong and the Chinese mainland. Southbound travel scheme drivers need some time to get adapted to these rules. In addition to infographics, promotions, I'd like to ask the administration whether you will consider working with the vehicle examination centers or the relevant departments in the Chinese mainland. Will you wrap up the issues that mainland drivers have come across in Hong Kong so that you can conduct more targeted publicity? Regarding self-driving tours of the southbound travel scheme, there are many places in New Territories North that have a lot of special characteristics. Will you consider working with the relevant departments to promote the non-tangible cultural exchange, cultural heritage in Hong Kong? Will you consider promoting these special self-driving tours so that we can promote the economic development in Hong Kong? Thank you. Secretary. Under the southbound travel scheme, in some cities in the Guangdong province, we will arrange for some vehicle examination centers to be set up therein. With the expansion of the scheme, the Transport Department will also increase the number of such vehicle examination centers in these cities. In addition to vehicle examination centers, we will provide more information about the roads in Hong Kong, and we will also educate mainland drivers about the road situations and conditions in Hong Kong. Many mainland drivers are used to having maps on their navigation systems in the cars. This makes them convenient while driving in Hong Kong. Last year, we worked with a very popular electronic map companies, and they have already set up a tool. That is, they have an electronic map showing the road conditions in Hong Kong. We will work with them in order to enrich information in the map. We want to provide more information and news. I believe motorists are used to checking the information on the screen on the system. Probably they will only check the road conditions when they are really on the road, and they will also pay greater attention to the road conditions. On the impact on traffic, the traffic impact is actually minimal. We'd like to share with you the accident rate. According to our record, we have been monitoring the situation closely. In 2025, for left-hand drive vehicles, the accident rate stood at 0.28%, which is lower than the accident rate in Hong Kong, which stands at 3.37%. We will not let down our guard. We'll continue to monitor the situation. We will also work with the Vehicle Examination Center and disseminate the relevant electronic information to remind drivers of what they need to pay attention in Hong Kong. Thank you.
Mr. Adrian Ho. Thank you, Chair. I would like to thank the SAR government for its dedicated work for the northbound and southbound travel schemes. I would say the schemes work well, but there's still room for improvement. I have some questions for the Secretary. For Park and Fly, having been implemented for 6 months, we have approximately 4,000 vehicles that have used the scheme. So every month it's approximately 600 vehicles. There is definitely room for increase in usage. There was feedback on that the connection service being less than ideal. And for Macau and mainland vehicles, after paying for parking fees as well as fuel surcharges, they have to bring their luggage, get on the shuttle buses to go to the Hong Kong International Airport. I think it sounds inconvenient. In the long term, are there plans to have high-speed commute facilities between the car park and the Hong Kong International Airport to reduce inconvenience costs to passengers? Would we have a railway connection, perhaps? Second, for the northbound travel scheme and southbound travel scheme, we have seen quite a success. Is it possible for us to extend the arrangement so that we have quotas for traveling between the urban areas of the two sites? I will first ask the representative from the Hong Kong Airport Authority to answer the members' questions on Park and Fly and Park and Visit. Mr. Horace Chen, thank you. Chair, we have only recently implemented the relevant arrangements. We do pay close attention to passenger feedback. We will also continuously enhance the relevant arrangements. I will perhaps provide more information as on top of what the airport authority representative said. We have feeder services. In future, we should have autonomous feeder buses. In future, we may have autonomous buses that connect the Hong Kong, Zhuhai, Macau artificial island port as well as the Hong Kong International Airport. We hope to commence relevant commercial operations at the end of this year. As Mr. Adrian Ho said, we do want to enhance the relevant connections and make good use of technology to do that. Mr. Adrian Ho has asked about quotas. I believe he has always been paying close attention to the subject. Mr. Adrian Ho also reminded us before that we should prevent abuse. We do keep an open mind when the conditions allow. And depending on our discussions with the Macau authorities, we may have some new arrangements. Thank you. Mr. Kenneth Lau. Thank you, Chair. The northbound and southbound travel schemes provide great convenience to people traveling within the Greater Bay Area for business, for visiting family, or for tourism. It also benefits regional development. I very much support this. We want to implement the policy of 1 hour living circle, and I do understand the government is taking baby steps. I do welcome the policy. I have, however, two questions. One, will we have more land boundary control points available for the use of the southbound travel scheme and northbound travel scheme? It would be a long-winded route if people have to go to and from Dongguan and Huizhou, for example. Will we have more ports available for the schemes? For the southbound travel scheme, 200 as the number of quotas sounds too few. I think if we want to tap into the potential of rural tourism in the new territories, we should expand the number of quotas so that more can come to Hong Kong for consumption. Would the Bureau work with other relevant bureaus to do this? Thank you. Secretary, we have to consider the usage of the participants, and we have indeed heard feedback that we should explore different options to perhaps designate other ports on top of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. As we said before, we have to consider the impact, the capacity of roads in the vicinity. We, of course, want to make sure there is effective diversion. We talked about before for the northbound travel scheme, we have different diversion arrangements to make good use of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge facilities. I believe with the southbound travel scheme, with communication with the Guangdong authorities, there can be coordination and we can explore different options. We do understand many members propose the idea to designate other ports for use by participants and for southbound travel participants. This is an incentive, but then we do need to take a prudent approach when exploring the different options. On quotas, some members asked for us to really consider or ponder the number of quotas. We do want to strike a balance. We're trying to take baby steps. We have already doubled the quota from 100 to 200. We will continuously monitor the data and usage. When the conditions allow, we will explore other options to enhance the relevant arrangements. Thank you. Mr. Cheng Pui-kong. Thank you, Chair. I also want to ask about quotas. We will soon open the arrangements to all 9 GBA cities. The number of quotas will double from 100 to 200. As the Secretary said, next year we will extend the arrangements to the whole of Guangdong Province. To be proportionate, we should increase the quotas from 200 to 500 then. Or has the Secretary has a specific figure in mind that she can share with us? I'm just making a projection here. I'm not sure if I'm correct. During long holidays, Hong Kong is relatively quiet. A lot of locals will go traveling. If we extend the arrangements to the whole of Guangdong Province, the number of quotas should not stay at 200. When we want to increase the number of quotas, should we at least pilot the arrangements during long holidays for Hong Kong so that we can at least try to boost the local economy? For parking spaces, if we extend the arrangements to the whole of Guangdong Province, will you increase the number of parking spaces further? Thank you. Secretary, the member mainly asked about quotas. We had a quota of 100 last year. We have in mind the relevant principles. We do want to control the total number of vehicles in Hong Kong. We want to make sure there is diversion. We also want to account for usage during both peak and non-peak periods, demand of participants, as well as availability of ancillary facilities in the city for charging and parking, for example. We believe doubling the quota from 100 and 200 is us trying to move fast, but we're still taking baby steps. If we extend the arrangements to the whole of Guangdong province, whether there is a need for adjustment and room for adjustment, we will make sure to have reference to relevant data. With 5 new cities included, we will also have reference to the figures related to applications and bookings for our analyses. We do not have any preset ratio or quantity. We want to flexibly make adjustments, and we want to strike a balance between the demand and availability of facilities in Hong Kong. Let me share with members this. Since implementation last year, we have now car park second identified plates and electronic payment increased by 10%. And we also have charging facilities that meet the national standards increased by 50%. These are factors that we have to consider as well. Mr. Chen Fu-kong, no. Mr. Chen Siu-hong. Thank you, Chair. The northbound and southbound travel schemes are important initiatives to promote integration of the Greater Bay Area. If we look at figures of applications and bookings, we do see a continuous increase in the figures. It demonstrates the popularity of the schemes. How can we meet the specific expectations? What we need is the SAR government and the Guangdong provincial government working together in an orderly manner to create a win-win situation for both sides. I have a question. We have talked about how with the implementation of the southbound travel scheme, it can truly benefit Hong Kong by boosting the local economy. The secretary said she would communicate with different sectors to get more information. But even with a higher number of quotas, we have at most 600 vehicles per day. Do you have a mechanism to closely track what the vehicles do? Will they stay overnight? How many nights will they stay here? How many days will they stay here in Hong Kong? Which types of visitors they are? How much they made in consumption? If you have such data, it's very helpful for the secretary to see what adjustments to make and how we can really truly strike a balance between boosting the economy and having regard to the capacity of the roads. I think even if we don't have such a mechanism right now, there should be such a mechanism. For northbound travel scheme, it is quite a success because we do see during certain periods there is a large number of vehicles leaving Hong Kong under such arrangements. We should learn more about the practices of these participants to see how much they're spending. We should have such figures because there is a negative impact with this. I think the members should have in mind the time. I think the SAR government should also need to have regard to the number of quotas. I do understand where they're coming from. They want to take baby steps, but did you have the figure of 200 for that is truly justified? What data have you relied on? Have you relied on figures in the past 6 months? We can perhaps discuss this after the meeting. I have 2 more questions. I want to ask if the SAR government establish a collaboration mechanism with the Guangdong provincial government to deal with cases where vehicles breach law in Hong Kong and did not pay the fines and they just went back to the mainland. I believe the Secretary talked about how mainland payment methods would be available for them to pay the fines. These are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for his suggestions. These are exactly our thoughts. When we wrote out the scheme, the quota was actually on a low side. The number of cities covered was 4. When we take baby steps, we do have the conditions and room to conduct a more systematic assessment. When we promote the northbound and southbound travel schemes, we have liaison, actually very seamless liaison and cooperation with the relevant counterparts on the Chinese mainland, such as that in the Guangdong province. When some drivers come to Hong Kong, if they breach traffic offenses in Hong Kong, when they need to make a payment for the fines or for the penalty, we have actually set up electronic payment methods in the vehicle examination centers in the Chinese mainland. They can also pay in the Chinese mainland through electronic payment methods. When there are sporadic cases on which we need to follow, we can follow up on these cases with these drivers electronically. The number of quotas will increase. There will also be more cities covered under the schemes. Both the Guangdong side and we do have the resolution to take forward this in an effective manner. Thank you. Ms. Vivian Kong. Thank you, Secretary. The tourism sector thanks the opportunities brought about by the travel schemes. Most of the tourists are family travelers. These have injected vitality to the local economy. As the document mentioned, different measures have been suggested. There are also different principles. Information shows that for those going to Hong Kong, the number is actually as high as 90%. So what measures will the administration roll out in order to encourage travelers to explore Hong Kong in line with the principle of tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong so that there would not be over-concentration in some places? I'd like to know how travelers will be diverted to non-conventional tourist spots. Thank you. The airport authority will launch the park and visit measure. This is a travel mode that we want to promote. When tourists park their vehicles, they can interchange and take other public transport. On the island of the bridge, if I remember correctly, there are about a dozen franchised bus routes. Very soon, we will help the operators of the franchised buses of Lantau Travel to launch an all-new travel route. It's an open-air bus or an open canopy bus. We want to promote this concept of park and visit. We will work very closely with the hotel and tourism sectors. We want to divert tourists to different places all over Hong Kong, such as theme parks, hotels, exhibition venues, and so on. There will be hotels. There are also parking facilities for tourists. In the first phase, we already launched a dedicated website under the Transport Department. It is under the purview of the Transport Department. A few different routes were promoted. In the Southern District, in Tsuen Wan on Lantau Island, the routes cover these places. In the future, we look forward to working with the tourism sector to achieve synergy. We want to roll out more appealing and attractive packages or routes in order to attract more tourists. Thank you. Next member, Mr. Perry Yu. Thank you, Chairman. Regarding the northbound and southbound travel schemes, these two schemes are mutually beneficial. I can see the Secretary, Ms. Mabel Chen, and her team have already endeavored to launch these schemes. Therefore, the schemes have been implemented in a stable and effective and seamless manner. The self-driving tour is a new travel mode. We are concerned about the increase in the quota, that is from 100 to 200. Actually, the quota of park-in visit can be much greater. We can make good use of the hotels near Lantau, such as Ngongping 360, Disneyland, and so on. We can consolidate these tourism resources to promote self-driving tours. The Secretary has been working very hard to connect all these destinations. Is it possible for you to work with other departments in order to take forward these policies further? They are very good policies. As other members mentioned, we can actually launch southbound travel in other boundary control points. At present, the bridge is the only BCP. This is the case under the existing policy. In the long run, what about the northeast direction? When we have the bridge in the southwest, what about that in the northeast? What about the BCP in Sha-Tou-Kok? We can enrich the experience on the overall tours. In Jiangmen, Zhuhai, Zhongshan, it's preferable to take the bridge. What about for tourists from the eastern cities, such as Wezhou? They would have to take a detour if they need to enter Hong Kong through the bridge. Can we practice East in, East out? If so, the travel experience will be much greater. It will be perfect. I'd like to know if the administration has this plan in mind. The quota was 100. Now you're going to double it to 200. Say 200 cars staying for 3 days, on average 3 people on board, say $2,000 per person. This can generate about $1.2 billion to Hong Kong. These are high-end tourists. They have high consumption power. So I'd like to know how you can launch more policies, whether with other departments or not, or with just the Transport and Logistics Bureau. Launch more publicity programs targeting tourists. Regarding the departure tax of tourists, they can get exemption when they join the park-in visit scheme. Well, member, please allow the administration time to respond. Thank you. Well, I have a few seconds. Thank you. I agree with Mr. Perry Yu. I'd like to share something important with members. The launch of the southbound travel scheme is to achieve policy-oriented approach, but at the same time, we need to promote in taking forward these policy. The government cannot work alone. We need to work with the sector as well as the airport authority. There are many experts in the meeting today. We want to conduct more explanation efforts, and we do want to continue with liaison with stakeholders. Regarding the northbound travel scheme, as Mr. Chen Siu-hong mentioned alongside other members, self-driving tours, drivers need time to park their cars, and they want to take even more passengers, say more family members or even 2 families within one single car. They also want some space in the car in order to place their goods inside. Some may want to go to the theme park for consumption. We want to conduct more surveys. We also want to launch more packages in the future. Some work may cut across different departments, but within the administration, we work together with different policy bureau. Well, Chairman, I need to declare I'm a member of the board of the Airport Authority. I'd like to remind members, as we have already overrunning, please allow the administration enough time to reply. Thank you. Mr. Aaron Bok. Thank you. I definitely support the northbound and southbound travel schemes. They are conducive to the local economy. We need to enhance the connection and flow between the two places. This is a good direction, but I'm let down by the decision to increase the quota by only 100, totaling 200. A total of 140,000. That is averaging 17,000 cars per day. We need to attract mainland tourists to Hong Kong. This is a two-way connection. Some people may worry about the impacts on local traffic. In Hong Kong, about 800,000 vehicles registered. In Hong Kong per day per km, about 361 cars. In other words, in Hong Kong, on the roads, there are about 800,000 cars running on the road. So an increase of just 100, totaling 200, are just a drop in the bucket. These cars can travel freely in Hong Kong, in Tsim Sha Tsui, for instance. When drivers come to Hong Kong, when they drive in the urban area, they need to have a driving license in Hong Kong. In other words, they know the travel patterns and the driving habits in Hong Kong. We need to take baby steps. We need to take a progressive approach, but it doesn't mean the increase in the quota should be as minimal as 100. I agree with the direction mentioned by Mr. Perry, that is east in, east out, and west in, west out. Thank you. Secretary, I thank Mr. Aaron Bok for his support for our project. I also thank him for his views. We will turn it into our positive energy while taking forward this project. Just now you provided some figures on the roads in Hong Kong. The roads in Hong Kong are in line with international standards. We will take into account the traffic in peak and non-peak hours. We'll consider whether capacity is sufficient or not. However, at the same time, I'd like to supplement. When we launch the southbound travel scheme, I'd like to thank the Transport Department and the Airport Authority Hong Kong, and above all, the Guangdong province government as well as the relevant counterpart units in the Chinese mainland. The system provides different functions, such as the reservation system. We also need to manage social views. We have already get everything ready. This has paved the way for us to take forward the schemes. Policy system support. We have an overall lofty goal, and this is how we take forward the schemes. Thank you.
Captain Lothair LAM. Thank you, Chair. For the integration of the JBA, I welcome and support the northbound southbound travel schemes and the extended arrangements. I have two questions. We do have some white license car illegal services available. Does the Secretary know the details, and how have we been combating such illegal operations? With the applicants of the southbound and northbound travel schemes, they will go drive in roads that are drastically different from their local roads. Will we have some voluntary courses for the participants to familiarize themselves with the road conditions on the other side. And if they take such courses, perhaps we should accord them with priority in being allotted with quotas. Thank you. Secretary. Thank you, Captain Lam. We work closely with the police to take enforcement action if one illegally carries passenger for a reward that is against the law. For the northbound travel scheme, if they make use of the quotas to carry passengers for a reward across boundaries, we do take stringent enforcement action against this. On the Hong Kong side, the police will take enforcement action. If we have identified other cases in the mainland, we will work with mainland authorities to take enforcement action. Regarding the member's suggestion to provide courses so that participants can familiarize themselves with the differences in driving on two sides, we have already at Vehicle Inspection Center some videos and tips available for participants. As we extend the arrangements to cities further away from Hong Kong, such as Guangdong West or Guangdong East, we will actively consider the options suggested by the member. Thank you. Ms. Christine Fong. Thank you, Chair. Regardless of northbound or southbound travel, we definitely want more ports to be available for use. I hope the SAR government can strive for support from the central authorities. With the Huanggang port as it is to be commissioned next month, for people, clearance can take as short as 5 minutes. We should make sure there is quick vehicular clearance as well. I think it is also important to make things more convenient for visitors for park and visit and park and fly services. We need to definitely improve the connections. I note in paragraph 11, it says we only have a small number of national standard chargers. If we extend the arrangements of southbound travel scheme, how will we expedite the process of setting up additional charging facilities? We also need to expedite the taking up by car parks on providing contactless or mainland payment methods for participants of the southbound travel scheme. I also observed that isolated accidents arose because of differences in driving practices. Is it possible for the SAR government to work with the mainland authorities to enhance publicity to promote driving safety? I also agree with what Captain Lam suggested. If one takes driving improvement course or driving safety course, one should be accorded priority in allotment of quotas. Thank you. Secretary. Thank you, Ms. Christine Fong. Most of the members' suggestions are very much valid. We will definitely follow up on the suggestions. Regarding charging facilities, we have been working closely with shopping malls, hotels, as well as the airport authority to enhance and install more charging facilities that are compatible with the national standards. We want to make sure participants can come here for charging just for a very short time and they can continue with their journey. We also want to make sure they have adequate charge for them to travel back to the mainland. We are trying to put in place more charging facilities, but we understand even with our efforts in the long term, it may not meet the demand of those who need such charging facilities, which is why we provide charging information on different channels to provide such information to drivers so that they can easily identify or find such facilities. And the Transport Department has been actively updating relevant information. In Sunny Bay of Lantau Island, we have worked with a subsidiary of a public organization to set up a hub for participants to park their vehicles, to charge their vehicles, and then they can move on to other hotels and exhibition venues. We believe this is a very good arrangement. Thank you, Chair. I would like to clarify something about Ms. Christine Fong said difference in driving practices. Well, some would only allow for one to turn right during a red line. Well, actually, different places have different practices. In Heyuan, for example, it is the case. All right, I guess that is the case. Mr. Chang Feng, thank you, Chair. After implementation, we do see southbound travel scheme boosted the local economy. But with the increase of the number of quotas from 100 to 200, I do understand where the administration is coming from. They're trying to take baby steps, but there is no significant boost to the economy as a result. But of course, we can't move too quickly with the increase in number of quotas. Can we allow perhaps the vehicles to travel under restricted conditions so that they could go to Sunny Bay or Disneyland? There is also a large car park there. People can also take the Tongchong line to get to urban areas. In future, we will have the airport city so people can perhaps shop there. And in 2029, we will have dedicated transportation between the airport and Tongchong so they don't have to drive to urban areas. Is it possible that we put in place such arrangements? My second question is, with the southbound travel arrangements implemented, there have been incidents showing differences in the laws of the two sides, including tinted glasses. I also agree with what Captain Lothair LAM. There is a problem of illegal carriage of passengers for reward. For southbound travel scheme, participants are using mainland platforms that would allow cross-boundary traveling services, while local platforms in Hong Kong do not allow for that. So how can we make sure this difference is communicated to mainland platforms? Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chong, for your questions. We're actively promoting the arrangements of park and visit so that participants can make good use of the car park of the airport and travel elsewhere by public transportation. The car park has 1,800 spaces, and for park and visit, we have another car park that will provide 1,000 spaces. Perhaps the airport authority representative can provide the updated figures in due course. We will at first provide 100 to 200 quotas for park and visit. Mr. Chong also asked about how some vehicles coming from the mainland might fail the relevant inspections in design. I understand the Transport Department plans to report to the panel on transport after their review on some amendment proposals. in due course about illegal carriage of passengers for reward. If drivers under the two schemes carry passengers illegally for reward, it is in breach of the laws of Hong Kong. We will work with the Guangdong province regardless of it being under the northbound or southbound travel scheme. We can follow up on such under the management of the mainland authorities. Thank you, Chair. I want to ask for the vehicle to not be parked in the facilities of the Hong Kong International Airport. Instead, they can be parked elsewhere, and their vehicle will be like a suitcase. They can put in place, say, the things they have shopped back there, and they can make use of public transportation to travel to other areas again. That's my suggestion. We do note the suggestion. Thank you. Mr. Alan Chen. Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to declare that the hotel group that I serve would benefit from the southbound travel scheme arrangements. I would first like to thank the administration for extending the arrangements of southbound travel scheme. I fully support such. I also thank the government for taking on board my suggestions and has shortly, within 6 months, extended the southbound travel arrangements to 9 other GBA cities and increased the number of quotas to 200. That is double the current quota. I want to share with you some figures. For northbound travel scheme, Hong Kongers are spending $25.9 billion. For southbound travel scheme, participants are only spending $1.7 billion. There is a significant difference. It is almost unfair. Last year, there were 2.59 vehicles. Every vehicle had approximately 4 people. According to the figures in 2025, every overnight visitor is spending $2,500. So that comes to the figure of $25.9 billion. But that was only from 2025. We will definitely have higher figures now. As for southbound travel scheme, we have come to the figure of $1.7 billion. On average, people spend $5,800. So with 200 quotas, we reach the figure of $1.7 billion. I think there is great potential to tap into. With northbound travel scheme, it has greatly affected the retail and F&B sectors. We should increase the number of quotas to really boost the local economy. We object to the departure tax because it does not benefit the Greater Bay Area or the boundary facilities fee. But we should really consider increasing number of quotas. East in, East out, West in, West out can be good also. I do thank the Secretary for extending arrangements to other cities. With East in, East out, we should have Hung Yuen Wai Port. People can get to Huizhou and Shenzhen East, or Shenzhen Bay Port is convenient for people getting to Dongguan and then a part of Shenzhen. There is really no need for them to make use of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau bridge because it would only lengthen their commute. I hope that some of the quotas can be allotted to Shenzhen Bay and Hung Yuen Wai ports. Thirdly, there is a figure that between Monday and Wednesday, one does not have to apply for a quota. I hope that it can be extended to Thursday. We have some figures on Monday. We have 5,200 vehicles. On Wednesday, 4,500 vehicles. And Tuesday, approximately 4,000 vehicles. We have 300 to 400 vehicles more. So can we extend the arrangements to Thursday? Thank you.
Secretary, the member has asked a lot of questions and provided a lot of views. Can you respond in brief? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for your full support and valuable opinions. We agree fully with you on one point. Hong Kong, it's a small city. We have limited land comparing with the expansive area in the Guangdong province. Indeed, our considerations are not the same, but in addition to quota, we do want to boost individual consumption as well. We want to work together with the sector to this end. Many members, including Mr. Chen yourself, have mentioned another BCP in addition to the bridge. We will listen to members and other stakeholders. Overall, we will take into account the capacity of different BCPs, and we will have to see whether we can better manage traffic in the future. We will carefully conduct analyses and surveys. We will conduct surveys, analyses, and we'll work with the relevant BCPs. Thank you, Mr. Lam Wai Kong. Thank you, Chairman. I support the further expansion of the northbound and southbound travel schemes. This will further boost the local economy. I'd like to ask the Secretary if it is possible to make further enhancements when it comes to developing the local economy. A series of packages were mentioned. Can you tell us how they boost the local economy? I agree with the administration that they need to take swift baby steps. It's been half a year since the operation of the scheme, so now you are going to increase the number of quota from 100 to 200. Are you going to conduct a review and increase the quota further every half a year? Just now, Captain Lam mentioned cross-boundary white licensed vehicles. They operate in an illegal manner, whether for the northbound or the southbound scheme. When there are such non-compliances, when you catch these illegal drivers, will you enhance the penalty, such as withdrawing the permits or making a mark on their driving license? Thank you. On three main fronts. First of all, on packages. When we launched the scheme, the number was on the low side, so the progress was different. However, we have become aware of the positive feedback. The sector would want to enhance the level of promotion. I thank member for agreeing on our baby steps approach. It's not just about the increase in quota, but we will also increase the number of cities covered, as we mentioned in the papers. Early next year, very quickly, we're going to extend it to the entire GBA or even all 21 cities in the Guangdong province. I'd also like to share with members, we do not tolerate any non-compliances. We take actions in accordance with law. The police takes law enforcement action, and we also have intelligence exchange with the Guangdong side. The most serious penalty is the disqualification of the permits, or they will have to start their applications afresh. So far, the implementation of the scheme has been smooth. That's why there have been sporadic cases, but then we don't have to trigger the mechanism as yet, but we do have a sharing mechanism. Thank you. And last, the quota is going to be increased from 100 to 200. I agree with the baby step approach. 100 cars. If they stay in Hong Kong for 3 days, then there will be 300 cars. If the quota increases to 200 for 3 days, there will be 600 cars altogether. I believe the roads in Hong Kong can still receive these cars, but it's a good idea to take a progressive approach. After we have doubled the quota, what about the number of chargers? Will the number of chargers increase? In the past, when there were only 100 cars, there was a heated discussion in society, such as the non-compliant transparency of the glasses. As I understand, the standards in the Chinese mainland and in Hong Kong are the same. However, when it comes to vehicle examinations, we have a very rigorous standard. That is why for some cars in the Chinese mainland, they allow darker glass or less transparent glass. For parallel import vehicles, probably they need to replace the glass so that we can align our standards with the standards in other countries. Thank you. I'd like to speak, and then I will ask the Commissioner for more information, to add more information. Thank you. Regarding charging, we have taken into account the increase. We have some national standard charging facilities. We will review their use. We will also take into account the time taken to charge the cars. At present, when we increase the number of cars to 200, we think we can still cope with the situation. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. With regard to chargers, I'd like to give you more information. From last December to June this year, in just 6 months, for national standards chargers, we have seen an increase of 50%. As the Secretary mentioned just now, as we understand, the usage rate can still cope with the demand, or the supply can still meet the demand. In just 10 minutes, the battery can be increased up to 60%. When we increase the quota, we will expect a burgeoning demand. For multi-story car parks managed by the Transport Department, we have a few quick chargers, and we are liaising very closely with the EPD. At least for the multi-story car parks under the purview of the Transport Department, we will install even more quick chargers. As we understand, many hotels provide F&B discounts and discounts on hotel rates. Most of them provide free charging facilities. These can attract southbound vehicles to spend overnight in Hong Kong. This will also help them meet the charging demand. Regarding less transparent glass, we have noticed sporadic cases in Hong Kong in which the cars used less transparent glass. As per international practice, we need to strike a balance between two factors. One, road safety. Two, we need to facilitate the movement for a vehicle across boundaries. The usual practice is that for vehicles that will stay in another city for a shorter period of time, for the windshield, window, or glass, that window or that glass must be transparent for the sake of road safety. Since January this year, we have been exploring this issue very proactively. We have already consulted the relevant road safety committee. We have also maintained communication with the law enforcement agency, that is the police. In the second half of this year, we will report the progress to the Penang Transport. road conditions permitting, we keep our mind open. Thank you. Thank you. That is the end of this agenda item. Thank you, officials. Let's move on to the next agenda item. That is the replacement of traffic control and surveillance system of Tsingsha Control Area. I'd like to invite the officials to join us.
咁亦都提醒各位委員啦，呢項議程
And I'd like to remind members that this agenda item concerns a funding proposal in accordance with paragraph 83A of the Rules of Procedure. If members have direct or indirect pecuniary interest in the item in discussion, please declare the nature of the relevant interest before you speak.
好委員呢，如果想就
All right, members. If members would like to speak, please press the button now.
請其他
All right. Officials, welcome. Thank you, Secretary.
OK， 副局長
All right, we have Undersecretary. The floor is yours. Thank you. Thank you. We are going to brief members on the replacement of the Transport Control and Surveillance System of the Tsingsha Control Area, TSCA. Roads and tunnels are very important traffic infrastructure in Hong Kong. Around-the-clock effective operation system will help a lot. The TSCA was started in 2008. It's been in operation for 17 years. It's nearing the usable end. After professional evaluation, we think there is a need to replace the transport control and surveillance system of the TSCA. It's as long as 13 km and it comprises a total of 4 tunnels. It is expected that the total cost will be about $383.3 million. We will make good use of technology to enhance traffic management capacity in order to pave the way for smart motorway designs. We will also better detect and handle security loopholes in order to protect critical infrastructure, that is in the computer system. I'm going to ask the EMSD colleagues to give you more information about this agenda item. I urge members to support this project. Afterwards, we will apply for funding from the Finance Committee. At the same time, we will also start our tendering exercise in order to start different phases of works as soon as possible, including design and construction. Thank you. I'd like to give the floor to the EMSD. Thank you. Who is going to take us through the PowerPoint? Thank you. Thank you. Chairman, members. I'm going to brief members on the replacement of the traffic control and surveillance system of the TSCA. That is the TCSS. Most traffic control and surveillance systems, TCSS, that were in operation for over 10 years have been completely replaced in recent years or are undergoing replacement. We are reviewing the Tai Lam Tunnel, the Tsuen Wan Tunnel, and the Shingwun tunnels in relation to the TCSS.
In the Tsingsha Control Area, the TCSS is composed of 3 components: the Control Area Central System, the Traffic Surveillance System, and the Traffic Control System. The systems are completely computerized. They can respond to road conditions and implement preset traffic management plans. We have for the traffic surveillance system that include detectors on vehicles as well as CCTV cameras. for operators to make good use of the equipment to find out more about the road conditions and deal with any incidents. We have a traffic control system that would have lane control signals, fully variable message signs, etc. for operators to disseminate information to motorists through such equipment. The Changsha control area connects Shatin, West Kowloon, and Qingyi, including the Stonecutters Bridge. The 4 tunnels have a length of 13 kilometers. The TCSS has been in operation for close to 18 years. We have seen recently an increase in the number of failures, and the H system has made it difficult for us to procure spare components for repairs. We therefore propose to replace the TCSS to lower the number of failures and ensure safe and effective operations of the system. We will make good use of technology to make good use of smart management, and in our replacement of the system, we will consider cost effectiveness. We also want to have the new central system enhance operational efficiency to execute more preset management plans. We will also make sure to maintain security of critical infrastructure so that operators can quickly identify causes of failures and affected equipment. This would enhance efficiency in repairs and maintenance. The message signs and displays will also be clearer. We will also replace the automatic incident detection system and make use of image processing technologies to issue a warning to the control room in advance to deal with incidents to prevent serious congestions. We will install firewall network for the system to make sure the system complies with the latest information security requirements. The proposed expenditure is approximately $383 million. We have set out in this slide different items for capital expenditure. The breakdown is also set out in the paper provided by the administration. We are tendering for the consultant contract. If we receive support from members in Q4 of this year, we will submit the proposal to the Finance Committee for approval, and in Q1 of 2027 we will engage a consultant. In Q4 of 2024 we will complete site investigation. In Q2 of 2028 we will complete preparation of tender documents. In Q1 of 2029 we will conduct tendering and selection of the contractor. In Q2 of 2031, we will complete procurement and installation of associated equipment. In 2030, we will gradually complete replacement and commission the use of the new system components. We will have the new system in full operation by Q4 of 2031. That's it for my presentation. Thank you, Chair. All right, I can see that 7 members have pressed a request to speak button. I'll read out the order in which members are going to speak. Mr. Chong Ho-fung, Captain Lothair LAM, Mr. Chen Su-hong, Mr. Aaron Bok, Mr. Lam Wai-kong, Mr. Yeo Ming, Mr. Chong Ho-fung. Thank you, Chair. We had small and medium-sized suppliers closing their businesses in the middle of contracts, and the administration had no choice but to go with other suppliers, and they would lose out. How can we make sure the government can perhaps obtain the source code so that our team, the government's team, can continue maintaining the system? We also need to make sure we have regard to the effectiveness of the actual operations of the system. The new system says with AI, within 10 seconds, a warning can be issued about potential accidents. I hope with the commissioning of this system, we can have data such as the accident rate and perhaps we should also set KPIs for how long it would take to change light signals and to deploy officers to deal with incidents. I also note that we have similar upgrades in locations such as Shenzhen Bay. Do we have any data on the smart traffic systems to see what improvements are brought about by the new systems in terms of handling of traffic accidents and alleviating congestion? Thank you. Mr. Liu Chen-sen, Undersecretary. Thank you, Mr. Chong, for the questions. We do note the concern raised by Mr. Chong, and we do note the issue, which is why in the contracts we have clauses related to the keeping of source code. I will also ask the Transport Department representative to talk about the effectiveness of the newer systems. I'll perhaps invite the Transport Department representative to provide such information now. Thank you. Who is going to answer the question? Ms. Candy Kwok. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Member, for the question. For the new system, from when there is an incident to when a warning has been issued to management personnel, it would have to be within 10 seconds. With the old system, it would take 30 seconds to a minute. If you compare the two, within 10 seconds, management personnel can be warned, and those in the control room can deploy vehicles and personnel to the site of the incident. According to the tunnel contract, if there is an accident in the tunnel tube, within 2 minutes, operators have to deploy personnel to the site. Depending on the circumstances, there may be emergency vehicles deployed as well. Regarding what the member said about Shenzhen Bay, we do not have such information on hand. Perhaps we will provide such information to the member after the meeting. Thank you. Captain Lothair LAM. Thank you, Chair. I support the proposal to replace the TCSS. The commitment is $380 million. The length of the sections is 13 kilometers. Compared to a similar project last year, which cost $270 million, but a much shorter section, it is cheaper in relative cost. I have two questions. We have different projects and road sections. We have the sixth project here is seeking electrical funding. We had previous projects such as the Kongshan Western Link as well as the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. I want to ask if this is the last project to be submitted for electrical's approval this year. My second question is, with so many projects, do we have enough manpower resources with the Transport Department and EMSD? My third question is, with the works project schedule, in Q4 of this year, if we have the approval of Finance Committee, they will select a consultant team and then they will prepare tender documents. But then we already had similar projects in the past. I believe we already have a grasp on information about the projects. I understand site investigation has to be done anew, but do we really need that many years to implement this project? Thank you. Mr. Liu Chen-sen, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Lam, Captain Lam, for your support. The member asked if there will be other similar projects to be submitted to electrical for approval this year. We have 3 other locations that we are looking at right now. At most, we will have 3 of such projects for the 3 locations. There may be fewer. As for the timeline, I understand where the member is coming from as we have similar projects, whether we can shorten the tendering process. We requested that the EMSD to review this. If we can expedite this, we will. The third question was, do you have enough manpower in the EMSD and Transport Department? Well, you can see we are implementing the projects in an orderly manner. We did not rush this. Having accumulated experience, I believe we can undertake the projects in a more efficient manner. I believe that is not a problem. Thank you, Chair. Do you support this project, Captain Lothair LAM? I do support this. For other members, after you've asked questions, perhaps you can also express whether you support the proposal, because I'm concerned we may not have enough time. Thank you, Mr. Chen Su-hong. My understanding is if this project is received endorsement in principle from us, they will support the proposal straight to the Finance Committee rather than the Public Works Subcommittee. Right. Chair, in principle, I support this project. If we look at the objective facts, the Changsha Control Area was commissioned in 2008. The system has been in operation for 17 years. With such equipment being used for 10 odd years, I believe the components are definitely outdated. It would take much time and effort to maintain and repair the system. We are, of course, concerned about internet security as well as the reliability of equipment. We do see an increasing number of failures, and should there be an incident when there is an accident, it can pose a great problem to traffic management. I do have a question about Annex 1. The government has provided information on TCSS in government tunnels and control areas. And note for item 5 in Tsuen Wan, the commissioning of the TCSS was in 2006, and it is to be replaced in phases. I want to ask what has yet to be replaced. Why haven't you replaced those components? What risks will this pose? My second question is about the cost. If we look at similar projects, say the project mentioned by Captain Lothair LAM, it was for Western Harbor Crossing. There are different components to be procured for within the tube. I believe there are less components needed outside the tubes. I don't see in this paper with the previous projects. You should have already accumulated experience and data. How much of that data have you reflected in the project cost for this project of $383 million? You do not have a specific breakdown here either. I hope that you can provide the relevant numbers in the Finance Committee paper in order for me to say whether the figures are reasonable. I do understand the Bureau has yet to tender for the project. I believe with parallel tendering prices, perhaps in the Finance Committee paper, we should have a much better understanding of the situation. I also want to say I do support the open source design, but if we have a works schedule of 5 years. You need to save some time for the officials to respond. How can you make sure there is seamless transition? All right, you only have 3 seconds left. Mr. Liu Chen-sung, thank you. Chair, I in principle support Mr. Chan stance. I will ask my colleague to provide more information about the Tranquil Tunnel situation. We have reflected in our cost the latest prices for replacement of components. With the tendering, we are only tendering for the consultant contract. We are only tendering for the construction works 2 years later. So with the finance committee paper, we will not have the latest figures for the works quotations, but we have already referred to the latest quotations when we set the estimate.
Regarding seamless transition, yes. When we install the system, we need to first of all install the new systems, after which we will remove the old ones. We'll need to make sure that these two systems, that is the new and the old, will operate anytime. So we do not need to worry that we are replacing just part of the system, which would affect the overall traffic control and surveillance system. Mr. Aaron Bok, thank you. I support this project. It's been in operation for 17 years. It warrants replacement. But of course, regarding the future design, we don't want to see yet another replacement needed 17 years later. We do want it to last longer. I have one straightforward question. Will you install direction lights on the road shoulders with this new system? That is the speed limit sign, the variable speed limit sign. Will the road shoulder be opened in case of emergency? This will give the road one more lane. This will also help with the traffic. At Tenkau Bridge, you have installed something similar on the road shoulders. There are lights on the road shoulders. But never have you activated the lights at peak hours in order to ease traffic congestion. Traffic is very congested in morning peak hours, but you haven't yet tried it. If you do not put it to test, members of the public will never know how it operates. Undersecretary, thank you. I thank Mr. Bok for your support. I'd like to ask the TD to give you more information. That is whether such lights will be incorporated into the new system. On the Tenkau Bridge, we do put it to test, and we do open the road shoulders for use in order to ease traffic congestion. Regarding whether we will open the road shoulders for use at peak hours, we will consider it. We'll have to take into account the views of the TD as well as those of the police. Mr. Bok, there are 3 lanes, but still there is a traffic snarl-up. When there are a total of 4 lanes, traffic congestion will be greatly reduced. Thank you. Do I need to ask the TD to reply? Thank you. Regarding what Mr. Bok said just now, that is the lights on the road shoulders. We will consider whether it is needed in the new system. That means, will it be available? Well, we will review whether it is necessary. Well, I don't understand. That is, are there lights above the road shoulders? At present, is it available? No, it is not available right now. Can you tell for sure in the future there will be? Yes. Thank you. Next, Mr. Lam Wai Kong. Thank you, Chairman. I agree that we need to replace the traffic control and surveillance system, and and I support it to be submitted to the Finance Committee. After the replacement of the system, within 10 seconds, a warning could be sent to the controllers. Only when the controller has confirmed it before the next action to be taken. I'd like to know whether under the new system, a controller, whether the controller still needs to confirm it. Next, I'd like to ask about the cameras. On highways, there are serious traffic accidents. There are also fatalities concerning maintenance workers on the roads. That concerns speeding cases. Will speed detection by the cameras be conveyed or be related to the police in order to curb such cases? Regarding the display, brighter lights will be used. That is, brighter light emitting devices will be used. Will warnings be provided earlier on in order to avert similar accidents? Thank you, Mr. Lam, for your support. I'd like to go over your questions quicker. The controller will have to confirm it. That is to prevent any system errors. When we change the traffic system, that will cause impacts to the users. As long as the controller identifies the warning, then they can confirm it after checking that on the screen. Regarding speeding cases, we'll actively consider such technologies. We'll have to add suitable equipment, not just the CCTV cameras. Regarding early display of warnings, we will also take that into account. Say, if there are traffic accidents in front of you, we hope that there will be more time for them to get ready in order to avert similar accidents. Thank you. Mr. Yu Meng. In principle, I agree and support the system replacement. Whenever there are accidents, we need to protect motorists, and we also need to protect workers on the roads. In the document, 5 years within the commissioning of the system, 1 million recurrent expenditure will be saved. I'd like to know if the figure will decrease year by year. In 2026, Q4, application for funding. And then the system will be in operation for 5 years. That is quite long. There's an increasing trend for system defaults or system failure in the 5 years after the commissioning, leading to traffic paralysis. What contingency plan does the administration have? Regarding contingency cost, about $33 million, accounting for 10%. Is it on the high side? What about its comparison with other projects? Undersecretary. Thank you. I thank Mr. Yu for his in-principle support. We expect recurrent savings of $1 million per year. It's mainly power cost. If we need to replace the parts, of course, the savings will be smaller. So yes, as time goes on, the savings will decrease. Overall, 5 years, we can finish construction, design, in 2 years. And afterwards, we will construct it and test it, starting from the 3rd year. For public works construction, we're mainly about the construction time, not about the pre-construction time. That is why you would have the feeling that it's longer. But I do agree that as long as we can compress the timeline, then there will be fewer problems. We do request the EMSD to strike a balance. Is there further room to compress the timeline? They will consider it. Regarding contingency fees, the TD and the EMSD has a lot of experience in this regard. In different situations, they have different contingency plans. That's why I'm not worried. Thank you. Well, the amount 10% regarding the contingency fee, yes, 10%. That's the percentage point we see of the regular projects. I extend the meeting by 5 minutes. Thank you. Regarding the Changsha control area, the system hasn't been replaced or repaired for 17 years. So in principle, I agree with the replacement of the system. I agree with any replacement of the parts of the system. Expected benefits. Active warning system. Utilizing sensors and data networks, the system offers real-time traffic flow monitoring, vehicle type identification, external object detection, and so on. From the perspective of fire safety, we will introduce linear sensors that will ensure in the middle section of a tunnel when there's a fire or when there are abnormalities, the active warning system will detect such abnormalities. I'd like to know whether this system can achieve this. My another question is that on the roads, that is, on the roads of the Changsha control area, there were previous traffic accidents. The drivers could not brake in time, or when there are vehicles that have broken down, traffic cones will have to be placed in order to alert other drivers. In the Chinese mainland, there are automatic robots being placed to alert drivers. That needs to protect controllers. Well, some of the questions do not have to do with this agenda item. Mr. Liu, thank you. I thank Ms. Fong for her support. Regarding fire safety, I'd like to ask the TD or the EMSD to give you more information. Regarding whether we can place the traffic cones to alert drivers earlier, we will study it. But I'd like to remind members, it's all about speed. The patrol vehicles need to arrive at the scene very quickly. It's about contingency plan regarding an emergency event. It's not about regular repair and maintenance. So is it really that useful? We will have to study it. I'd like to give the floor to my colleague regarding the question on fire safety. Thank you. I'd like to speak on the fire system in the Changsha control area. There's a linear detector or sensor. There are also fire extinguishers and fire hydrants. We have already obtained approval from the Fire Service Department. The lifespan is about 25 years to 30 years. We will closely monitor the system to make sure that it operates normally.
Well, I want to ask, will we do it just like what we have for Tsuen Wan Old Tunnel, a phased implementation of the project to alleviate congestion? Chair, it is positive. We do want to expedite the process as introduced with the schedule, we want to start some of the operations in 2030, and by Q4 of 2031, the system will be in full operation. I want to ask the Undersecretary, why are we submitting this proposal directly to the Finance Committee instead of going through the Public Works Subcommittee? This is because this is a replacement project. All right, any other business? If there is no other business, meeting adjourned. Thank you.